Hi, a very good afternoon to everyone here and warm welcome for you to join our Facebook Live talk today. My name is Jia Jun. I'm a dietitian in Assunta Hospital and I'll be your speaker today. Now, before we move on to the talk, here is a little reminder. Throughout the session, if you feel free just to drop a comment box, your question in the comment box below, and I will collect all these questions and I will answer them accordingly during our Q&A session as well. Now, don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and your family so they can join us in this session as well. So let us move on to the talk. So the talk today basically is talking about weight management, easy to gain, but hard to lose. First of all, we have to look about the prevalence of obesity across the Southeast Asia, in which the prevalence of Malaysia across compared to other countries, unfortunately, it is the highest percentage, in which is 44.2%. And that means if we translate that to another data, it's actually 1 in 2 adults in Malaysia were either overweight or obese. There are some of the complications of obesity because we have to know that obesity is like a triggering risk factor where it actually triggers other diseases as well, such as diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, in which we will call them cardiovascular diseases, including stroke as well. Not to mention like lung diseases, liver diseases, gallstones, pancreatitis, arthritis or gout, or even cancer. Just now I mentioned there are diabetes, there are high blood pressure, and there are high cholesterol. Now let us move on and look at the prevalence of diabetes in our country, Malaysia. According to the National Health and Mobility Survey in 2019, 1 in 5 adults in Malaysia actually have diabetes. And in that group of population, 84% of them actually were either overweight or obese. Moving on, for hypertension, there are actually 3 in 10 people in Malaysia actually have hypertension as well. And also, for hypercholesterolemia, 4 in 10 people actually have high cholesterol as well. With these 3 major risk factors ongoing, apparently there are 1.7 million people in Malaysia actually live with these 3 major risk factors. And also, 3.4 million people having 2 major risk factors. So we have to know how serious is obesity can actually lead to all these kind of diseases. Now, when we talk about weight management, first of all, we have to understand what is weight, what is overweight, what is obesity. In order to define obesity or overweight, we have to look at body mass index. Overweight is actually defined in the range of BMI 25 to 29.9. And if it's obesity, it will be in the range of 30 to 34.9 or even higher with different classes of classifications. Next, we also have to look at types of body fat. Apparently, there are 2 types of body fat here. The first one is subcutaneous fat, in which this fat is actually stored just beneath your skin. You can actually pinch your skin with your thumb and your forefinger, and you will be pinching your subcutaneous fat. And next will be the visceral fat. Now, this visceral fat is the fat that actually store around your internal organs under the layer of abdominal muscle layer. However, visceral fat has actually been linked to the metabolic disturbances and increased risk for cardiovascular diseases and type 2 diabetes. Somehow, we also have to look at the waist circumference of an individual in order for a weight management. In order to diagnose a person who is having abdominal obesity or not, the male has to be having a waist circumference of at least 90 cm, or in other unit will be 35 inches. And if it's female, the waist circumference will be 80 centimeter or 32 inches. So now let us look at some of the diet that existing recently. There are a lot of trending diet, whether it's a detox diet, there is a juice cleanse diet, or extreme celebrity diet for all the individuals who wants to lose weight. All of these diets, we will actually consider them as the fat diet, in which we want to debunk them. As much as we want them to exist, there are actually no quick fixes, and there are no like magical juices, magical herbal tea that just miraculously make us healthy. The only way and the best way and the simple way for us to maintain our weight or even lose weight is to always keep in mind that we want to maintain a healthy diet every single day. Take an example, for example, juice cleanse diet. Now, juice cleanse diets can really help you to lose weight, but the weight that you're probably losing probably is just water weight in that short period of time, and you will see the result in a very short time. But once you actually gain or eat back normal pattern, your rapid weight gains actually follows. Not to mention there are also some of the serious side effects, for example, electrolyte imbalance or even diarrhea, in which all of us don't want that to happen. So it's really important for us to always keep in mind that try not to follow your idol for all this kind of fat diet, but instead, if you have this concern, talk to your doctors or talk to your dietitians for further information. Now, before I move on to teach you guys how to manage your weight or how to lose weight, first of all, we have to set a goal. Not just any goal, but a SMART goal, because it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant, and it's time-based. If it's a non-SMART goal, one person might say, I want to lose weight. But if it's a SMART goal, he or she will say, I want to lose weight of 1 kilogram in a week, in which is specific, it's measurable, and it's time-based. When you talk about weight loss goal, first of all, it has to be realistic, which means you have to talk to a dietitian for your weight loss goal. And talking to a dietitian actually can help you to set a long-term weight goal and plan your temporary weight goals at a monthly interval. Now, there are actually 5 steps to help us to lose weight. The first step is you have to be honest with yourself in order to know your weight status, where we use body mass index as our indicator here. So the BMI here is using an equation. If you have a calculator right now or you have a phone right now, you can actually calculate your weight status right now. So using the equation of body weight in the unit of kilogram, divide by the multiplication of height in the unit of meter, height times height, and then you will get a number. So you can fit that number into this table and you will know your weight status, or you can know your BMI. So let's take an example. Now, G's weight is 75 kilograms and her height is 165 centimeters. So by putting all these 2 figures into that equation, we will get a BMI of 27.5. Now, if it's 27.5, so G's actually have a weight status of overweight. Step 2, after knowing your weight status, you have to know how much to lose. According to the guideline, it's best to just aim at 7 to 10% of weight loss in 6 months, or you can aim 2 to 4 kilograms of weight loss in a month. And the third one, you have to include the calorie deficit of 500 to 1,000 calories from baseline calorie requirement, and I will highlight that later on. Let us focus on the point number 1 and number 2. Using the same examples of G's weight, which is 75 kilograms, and height of 165 centimeters, the ideal body weight at her BMI of 24.9 will be 67.8 kilograms. So targeting 7 to 10% of weight loss in 6 months will be in the range of 5.3 to 7.5 kilograms. So hence her target weight will be in the range of 67.5 to 69.7 kilograms in 6 months. With this goal, G's is able to adhere it, and also she's able to know how much to lose. After knowing your weight status and also knowing how much you're going to lose, also you have to look at the activity level specific to yours and also the energy needs. There are 3 main classifications of activity level, namely inactive or sedentary, moderately active, or you are a very active person. Take an example. The nurses in the hospital, they are quite classified as moderately active or even active because they do spend most of their time, or even 60% or even 75% of their time standing or walking or doing active work. But most of us here probably are sitting in office doing our office work. So we are considered as somehow inactive or sedentary lifestyle. Now, after knowing your activity level, you can use, if you're overweight individual, you can use this equation, which is 20 to 25 calories per body weight, to calculate your energy requirement. Using the same example, G's weight is also 75 kilograms with a height of 165 centimeters. The energy needs using the 20 to 25 calories per body weight multiplied with her body weight, her energy needs is 1,500 to 1,875 calories per day. But previously, I've actually mentioned that in order to lose weight, you have to have a calorie deficit. Starting off with a calorie deficit of 500 calories, apparently a calorie requirement would be in a range of 1,000 to 1,375 calories per day in order for her to lose weight. Now, after knowing your weight status and knowing how much to lose, and also you know that your calorie requirements in a day, but how do we actually achieve that calories? You have to improve your diet habits. And before all of that, we have to talk about energy density. Now, 1 gram of fat actually has 9 calories. And fat actually coming from oil, it can come from butter, or it comes from some meat product as well. And also 1 gram of carbohydrates contains 4 calories. Now, some of the types of carbohydrates here include bread, oats, rice, noodles, pasta, or even starchy vegetables like potatoes. Also, not to mention, 1 gram of protein also has 4 calories in the protein. So first thing first is that you have to limit your high fat intake, or limit the intake of high fat food, because you can always try to choose and prepare food with less fat, and also cutting down on high fat foods actually reduce the total calories and promote weight loss. Try to choose some food with a healthier cooking method, in which we will say that it's non-fried. And let's look at the pictures on your right hand side, in which you can see all these dishes that is being sold in hawker center or outside. An example that I can give is a plate of kway teow goreng. One plate of that can contain 642 calories. And look at the fat content to actually achieve 31 grams of fat. Another example is like nasi goreng. A plate of that could also contain 637 calories with a fat of 25 grams. Also, our favorite Malaysian dish is nasi lemak. So, however, just a nasi lemak biasa could also contain up to almost 400 calories with a fat of 13 grams. Here are some of the examples that you can do by doing your own food preparation at home by just simply trimming off the fats or remove the poultry skin. Deveining a prawn can also help, or even you can choose some of the lean meat products. Apart from that, try to skim some of the fat when you're boiling soup at the top layer, or if you're frying stuff or sort of like pan frying stuff, you can always use a kitchen towel or a kitchen tissue to just absorb the oil. Or you can even easier just change your cooking method. Instead of deep frying or even pan frying, you can always choose steaming, stir frying, boiling, poaching, grilling, or even baking. Here are some of the 4 examples I can show of the food choices. When you make an alternative food choices, you can reduce the fat intake percentage. A bowl of curry noodles which contains 700 calories with a 49 grams of fat, by just switching that to a soup noodle, basically you're actually reducing almost 71% of the fat. And also if it's a nasi lemak biasa, which contains 400 calories or even 13 grams of fat, by choosing or reducing that or even switching that to a white rice or a brown rice, actually you're reducing almost 88% of the fat. And one of the most vivid examples here is by just switching teh tarik to teh o, actually you already cut 100% of the fat. After we talk about fat, we have to talk about simple sugar. The reason is being simple sugar, when you take that excessively, the sugar will just being stored as a fat if you do not expend the energy that you have consumed. So sugar supply calories with no nutrition value. That's why we will call it providing just an empty calories. Try to choose plain water or plain tea or plain coffee over the sugary drinks. Now choose some of the food that label with unsweetened, less sugar, or reduced sugar. Apparently, World Health Organization actually recommends us to take sugar just within the range of 5 to 10 teaspoons maximum per day. Look at some of the examples here that's being favorite drinks or some nice drinks that's being sold in the hawker center as well. For example, teh tarik contains 5 teaspoons of sugar. Just 1 glass of them contains 5 teaspoons of sugar. And also, some of us might like siram bandung. So that actually contains roughly 6 teaspoons of sugar. And also if it's limau ice, also 6 teaspoons of sugar. Another example is like Milo Kosong, which contains 2.5 teaspoons. But if you upgrade that to a Milo Dinosaur, then it will be a 7.5 teaspoon of sugar. So with that just one drink that you order in, for example, your breakfast, that actually almost contributes to your almost 50% of your sugar intake. Not to mention other main meals such as lunch and dinner, where the person that cooked the food, they might add sugar inside the cooking method. So you have to be really aware of all these things. Now let us look at two pictures here where I try to let you all how to read a food label. We have to know 1 teaspoon of sugar actually contains 5 grams. On the left hand side, this can of drinks which contains 250 milliliters, it actually contains 42 grams of the sugar, in which if you convert it to a teaspoon portion size, it will be 8 teaspoons of sugar per 1 can. And if it's on the right hand side, this can of drink contains almost 325 milliliters. So this can actually contains 35.8 grams of sugar. Also, it will be 7 teaspoons of sugar. Now we've talked quite a bit on reducing the fat, reducing the sugar, but you also have to remember, try to boost up your high fiber intake from all these food groups. First of all, it's because high fiber food is very low in calories and it's nutrient dense. And most importantly, it actually helps to satisfy hunger and it provides satiety. Fiber mainly comes from 3 major food groups: fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Now, whole grains is something that you can do in a daily lifestyle by just switching white bread to, for example, wholemeal bread or a multigrain bread for your breakfast or other kind of cuisine. Now, if you sometimes feel like you want to have a snack, but instead of taking just sugar-filled cookies or cream-filling cookies, try to switch it to a high-fiber biscuits for your tea time. In main meals, instead of white rice, in order to boost your fiber intake, you can always choose brown rice or Basmati rice. Now, some of us here might want to have a cereals with milk in our breakfast for our energy booster. But you have to know that currently the markets, a lot of products are pretty much include all this simple sugar inside. So what you can do is always try to choose high fiber cereal without all this sweet flavor, or you can even make some homemade granola or muesli at home. Now, fruits. We recommend you to take 2 servings of fruits in a day in order to achieve the fiber intake and also taking enough and adequate vitamins and minerals. 1 serving of fruit is, for example, 1 medium piece of apple, 1 medium piece of orange, or 1 small piece of banana. If it's a sliced fruit, you can always go for 1 slice of papaya, 1 slice of pineapple, or even 1 slice of watermelon. Vegetables. We recommend you to also take 3 servings of vegetables in a day in order to also achieve the high fiber intake. 1 serving of vegetables can be in 1 cup of raw vegetables or half cup of cooked vegetables, or if you're using a rice scoop, you can always estimate the portion size with 1 scoop of cooked vegetables. Now this picture is quite interesting because when you look at these 3 pictures, they actually having the same amount of calories, which is 400 calories. But if you look at the pictures here, 400 calories of oil takes up the stomach space with that just amount, as well as beef. But if you look at the vegetables, it almost takes up a whole stomach. Even though this is an illustration of how it actually helps, it shows that fiber actually helps you to satisfy hunger and delays your hungerness as well. The reason is because there are a lot of stretch receptors located throughout the stomach, and when they are triggered by the food intake, it actually sends signals to the brain to tell you to stop eating by secreting the hunger inhibiting hormone. So with high fiber like whole plant fruit, you can almost eat the most quantity for the least amount of calories. But wait, you have to also remember the cooking method matters as well. If you're stir frying the vegetables, always remember, try to reduce the oil during the stir frying. Also, not to forget, we always want to include some of the lean protein in our daily diet, even though we are in the journey of weight management. Because protein actually helps to stave off the hunger longer. So protein can come from chicken, fish, meat, egg, or milk. Or for our vegetarian friends here, you can always include beans and legumes, or even bean curd like tofu or tempeh. So examples are include a tub of low-fat yogurt during breakfast, or a palm size of lean meat, chicken, fish, or bean curd during the main meals. During the journey of weight management, we do allow us to take some of the snack, but you have to choose the snack wisely. So the examples here can be fruits, it can be plain low-fat yogurt, it can be a steamed corn, or you can homemade a popiah basah at home, or it can be steamed chickpeas. Try to have a handful of dry roasted nut could also help you to sort of like inhibit the hunger, or you can go with a biscuit without cream or sugar. Also, you can dip it in a glass of low-fat milk. Some of the time, you can always opt to make some vegetable sandwich, or if you're feeling you want to have a special drinks or flavored drinks, go and buy or make a glass of barley drinks without sugar. Last but not least, in improving your diet habits, we also have to know where, when, and how to eat. Firstly, where is to limit yourself to eating only at the dining table, at home, or at the canteen in your office. Avoid eating while watching television or reading or when cooking, and only put your focus during that eating. Try to sit further away from a buffet spread or leave the table as soon as eating is done. You are always encouraged to engage in conversation with your families, with your friends in that dining area. Now, when to eat. Always remember to eat regular meals starting with your breakfast, and never skip your meals, especially breakfast, because breakfast is our energy booster of the day. Try to avoid snacking and eating out of boredom, stress, or courtesy, and instead engage in other activities. How to eat. Eat slowly and enjoy each bite. You may allow drink water before eating or use a smaller plate. And this is what we call a portion size distortion, as being shown in the 3 plates in this PowerPoint slides. By doing that, actually you're sort of like tricking your mind psychologically that you're eating enough or you're eating not too much. You can say no to second helpings, and most importantly, try to have a small and frequent meals in a day. Now, just now we have talked about diet habits by improving your diet habits in a day, by of course lowering your fat intake, lowering your simple sugar intake, and not to forget to boost up your fiber. Also know some of the tips of how, where, and when to eat. But after talking about diet, we also have to balance the diet with the activities as well. Now look at the pictures of the energy balance here. On the left hand side is the calorie intake of what you eat, coming from 3 macronutrients. But on the right-hand side here is the energy expenditure, and one of the examples is physical activity, in which I will highlight in this talk today. So in order to lose weight, you have to have a negative energy balance, which means that your energy expenditure is actually greater than energy intake. In that way, you can actually help to lose weight. But if it's the opposite side, probably you would gain weight if the energy intake is more than the energy expenditure, or your body weight will be stable. And for someone who doesn't go for exercise, where should I start? Start slow and start steady. Walking upstairs as your first step instead of taking a lift or escalator. Walk when the distance is short rather than using your vehicles. In all sorts of ways, make more use of your muscles, or you can always start an aerobic exercise program. How often should I start, or how often should I exercise? You may feel weird and funny because you have never done it before, but once you get used to it, you will become more confident and you'll be more comfortable with it. And if you have not exercised before, start slowly and increase gradually over 3 to 6 weeks. The duration of exercise should be at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity, or at least 75 minutes per week of vigorous aerobic physical activities. Now, how do we define moderate and vigorous? So basically, moderate intensity, when you're doing it, you can talk but not sing during the activities. But if it's a vigorous intensity, You will not be able to say more than a few words without pausing for a breath. Here are some of the examples that I can show you in terms of moderate and vigorous. First of all, brisk walking is one of the moderate activities, including cycling or playing badminton or a low-impact aerobic. Doing moderate housework such as heavy laundry and scrubbing the floor help as well. And also dancing and recreational swimming, or even you can start by doing some of the gardening like trimming your shrubs or planting trees. Now, vigorous activities include race walking, jogging or running, cycling uphill or climbing stairs while carrying heavy load, playing tennis, squash, football, rugby or basketball can help as well. And surprisingly, jumping rope is actually one of the vigorous exercise as well. Also, canoeing or rowing the boats. Now, just to show you how we would compare calorie intake versus the expenditure. Now, one plate of char kway teow contains almost 700 calories. Now, in order to use up the energy that you have consumed, you may have to brisk walk for 2 hours in order to burn that energy off. Or another example is like nasi lemak, 400 calories. You have to swim almost 1.5 hours in order to burn that energy. So imagine you couldn't even do that. So you are basically containing or you are consuming excessive energy in the daily diet. Now, just to summarize the whole talk today, first of all, we have to know how serious obesity is or how it actually affects because of multiple complications. After that, we have to know how to define ourselves and how to help ourselves by knowing your weight status and also knowing how much to lose and also your energy requirements throughout the day. Also, not to forget, by using calculating energy and also improving your diet habits from the lower fat, lower sugar, high fiber, and also some of the tips that I actually highlighted. In order to balance out the energy, you have to do some of the activities here in order to ensure the success. And also to ensure the success, you can always reward yourself as you have reached each weight goal. For example, treating yourself to something new or a movie night. Think positively about the new you and be determined and patient even if you fail sometimes. So that's all for today's talks. Now let us move on to the Q&A session. So thank you for the question. So which one is better, either brown rice or basmati rice? So first of all, we have to know brown rice could be considered as whole grains because it contains, the husk contains all the fiber, micronutrients, and minerals. And when you take that, brown rice actually helps better because it contains a higher fiber compared to basmati rice. But some of us here might not like brown rice because of the taste or the flavor. So you can actually opt for a basmati rice as your alternate options. Or another examples I can give, you can always make the mixture of brown rice and white rice together. Another question here is, how do I ensure my kid eat healthy at home and in school to prevent further weight gain? Now we have to know that a lot of the food that's being provided in the canteen pretty much contains a lot of fat, a lot of processed food, and is very low in vitamins and minerals. So parents do play a pivotal role in ensuring the growth and the weight loss, also to prevent further weight gain. So in order to do that, what you can do at home is to ensure there is a balanced diet in your kids by just preparing some of the simple meals at home, or you can always pack a lunch set for them to go to school. Okay. Another interesting question here is by Lillian. So vigorous exercise is not so suitable for netizen, affecting our knees, brisk walking. Now recommended some of the examples here. Yes, some of the individuals or the audience here are having problem with the joint pain or couldn't even go for a very high intensity exercise. But what you can do is go for some of the weight bearing at home. For example, just to lift up some of the 5 kilo weights or 10 kilo weights at home. or you can always start off with just a simple stretching exercise as your starting point. Okay, before I move on to the question, just to remind all of you, you can still post questions and keep it coming. Now, Fitri asks, could you also talk about hard to gain, easy to lose? Problems with gaining weight. So this is sort of like another contrary of the talk today. So remember the energy balance that I mentioned just now. So in order to gain weight, your energy intake might have to be higher of your energy expenditure. But at the same time, you have to make sure you're doing enough exercise as well, because you want to build muscle and not just absorbing calories. So some of the exercise also contains like weight bearing, to build up muscles. And always go talk to your doctors or go talk to your dietitian if you have one, to ask for their advice or a proper guideline for you to gain weight. Okay, this question, what should I do if I don't have time to cook and always have to eat out? This is very, 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 very common for all of us who work until very late night or don't even have time to cook because we have to take care of our kids here. So first thing first, you always have to remember that we take charge and we are being in control of what we are eating. We are choosing the food. So instead of going to choose fried foods, and you have to know all this food is pretty much high in fat, you can always buy some separate dishes in a hawker center or in a mixed rice restaurant, and then pack it back at home. And then you can always have a balanced diet by doing that with just a combination of protein, carbohydrates, for example, rice, or enough vegetable. So this will be in a balanced diet, and you can make sure you are eating a healthy diet or a balanced diet in order to prevent further weight gain. Now, the next question here is, what about stevia? How many calories? Is it good to replace sugar? So stevia basically is another examples of artificial sweetener, in which if you are someone who really, really likes sugary drinks or sugar sweetened beverage, that you are pretty much cannot live throughout the day without the sugary drinks, I would say stevia pretty much is your another alternate options, because it does not have a lots of calories. Some of the examples do not even have the calories as well. But if you are not the type of person who really cling to the sugar sweetened beverage, I would actually advise you or recommend to just opt for a sugar-free diet or very, very low sugar, because you have to remember that anything excessive would not be good, and everything has to be in a moderate pattern. Now, there are some of the questions here that I might not able, and you can keep on posting the question in the comment box, and I will reply them one by one. And then, okay, so this question here, how about supplement drink which can help to control our diet? So first thing first is you have to know what kind of supplement drink that you are talking. If you are talking about meal replacement, that would be good in order to help your diet. But if you are talking some of the supplement drink, it would be best for you to show them to your doctors or to show them to your dietitian, to clarify whether it is suitable for you, because some of the supplement drinks might not be suitable for your body or your daily diet. In which ONS or orange nutrition supplement, we can take it as a meal replacement to replace a meal by doing that, because all these products, they do contain a wholesome, balanced nutrition in it, in which you have to liaise or talk or discuss with the dietitian in order to come up with a meal plan that is specific or individualized to your own diet. So thank you so much for the question here. And then Yeah, thank you so much for staying here with us throughout the live Facebook session. And we really appreciated that your attendance here. And I hope that you actually learned a lot as much as I do. So a lot of us here might somehow concern that in this talk we talk about weight loss and everything, but I do not have a guideline. So if you are interested, our hospital dietitian actually helps to create a book called Eat Well, Live Well. There are several guidelines inside and helps you to eat healthily with a balanced diet. And if you are interested, you can always call the number in the post below for further information. And also some of us wonder if we have a health problem or anything that's being related to our diet or health. You can always come to Assunta Hospital for health screening to check up and to ensuring your health is on the right track. So thank you so much, and also stay safe, and please anticipate and join us in our next live talk. The topic is Women's Health by Dr. Alishna. So thank you. Bye-bye.